We're Laura and Cindy, and you're listening to the Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry podcast, where we talk about natural horsekeeping and deepening your connection with your horse. I'm Laura, your horse care mentor. I teach natural horse management practices after working with over 200 horses and seeing how current industry standards are compromising the health of the horse.
And I'm Cindy, your horsemanship mentor, offering a proven and unique approach to creating deep connections with your horses from 20 plus years of experience, including working with wild Mustangs. If you enjoy this conversation, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us so we can get this podcast into the ears of more passionate horse people. Today's episode, we're going to explore the topic of how the balance or lack of balance in our bodies influence the balance within our horses or their lack of balance. And the way that we often see the lack of balance in our horses is if you have the trained eye, you can see the muscle structure being different on one side versus the other. You can often see it in the way that they carry their head. In other episodes, we have talked about one of the reasons it's important to let your horse move their head freely left to right is because they're seeing all the way around. That gives them the 360 view of their surroundings. So when we collect a horse up and hold them tight and don't let them bob up and down and don't let them bob left to right, we are quite literally taking their natural balance away from them, making them learn to compensate physically in their muscles on how to carry themselves in a way that they're not going to trip and fall. That's one that's super important. But the other thing is you're taking a level of their safety and comfort away from them by not allowing them to see panoramically all the way around them. And that, to me, undermines what we're striving for, at least Laura and I are striving for, is that relationship built on trust, connection, and communication. So it's really important for us to at least become aware of what we're asking our horses to do. And this thing is coming to my mind, Laura, and it may be kind of off the mark, but in order to help people really understand if this is a concept that you've not been exposed to, like, how is my horse traveling? Is that head bobbing up and down in a rhythmic motion? And is it going left to right in rhythmic? So if you were to do a cadence of 4, the head bobs down and to the left and up and down to the right. So it's a cadence maybe of a beat of 5, but definitely a beat of 4. But what I'm thinking about is, like, if you grab a buddy, a horse buddy, and you stand behind them and hold their shoulders. Just, ask them to rock their shoulder blades back and drop them back down into the opposite pockets. And then you firmly put your hands on their shoulders and you guys walk a straight line, but you don't allow them to move their shoulders. They can move everything else but their shoulders. And don't give feedback. Just, I don't know, 20 steps. Then turn around and switch. And then have them do that to you. And then compare notes on how that felt physically in your body. What did you notice? And then kind of mentally and emotionally, like, where was your mental focus and how did it feel emotionally? And then realize that to a degree, we automatically do that to our horses the minute we put a saddle on them and something on their head and in their mouth, or just on their head if you don't ride with a bit. You know, we already, to a degree, if the saddle doesn't fit right, or if you've got it wrong on their scapulas, are you impeding their ability to have full range of motion in those front legs? Is it too far back where it's hitting their pelvic bone structure, their hips, you know? So that's what we're exploring today. And hopefully we're just gonna like open your minds to what are we doing to our horses unknowingly.
So I have scoliosis, and one of my legs is like significantly longer than the other one to the point where I'm supposed to wear a lift in my shoe, but I am a woman and I am not really a shoe person, but I still probably own 12 pairs of shoes. And I'm not going to go to the foot doctor and have a specialized lift made for 12 pairs of my shoes. So I don't. I think I had one made once in my life and wore it, and that's that. So I'm, long story short, a crooked human being. My pelvis is tilted. My shoulders are tilted. I can work out, stretch. I can do all kinds of things to improve it, but I will never sit perfectly weighted in my saddle. The universe works in crazy ways, and my horse has an SI injury. She's not crooked, but she has extra bony growth, and she has also back problems. So we are the perfect example of her and I are always compensating. We're always putting tension. We can either be working really hard to take tension out of each other, or if we are not aware and we're just going out on the trail and being mindless, all of a sudden she will get completely uneven in how muscled she is on each side because of how I'm sitting and how she's compensating. So this is something that I am constantly honing my awareness of and managing in different ways, because we can make each other better or we can make each other worse, but there's no neutral for MJ and I.
I'm pausing here because I'm actually looking up someone on Facebook that Laura and I both follow, the Bone Gal, Bex. She is an amazing lady who has devoted her life to the betterment of horses. Bex Naren, we're going to get her hopefully on here as a guest. But what makes me think of her as Laura is talking is she has devoted her life to exploring the horses literally from the inside out. And she has discovered so many abnormalities in them, not just bone growth and development and what we're doing to them by putting them through the things that we do with horses, but she's literally discovered that some horses have an extra rib. And I'm not going to go into detail that because that's not my story and I don't want to do her work an injustice. But what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is that we all have uniquely different individual bodies, and we have longer legs than the other and shorter arms and stronger on one side. And so we have our own abnormalities. And then when we get on a horse and we don't know their abnormalities, unless it's like wah in our face, or when we purchased them, it was brought to our attention because the previous owner had it, diagnosed. But we don't know what's going on inside their bodies. Often we don't even know what's going on inside of ours. And if we do, we ignore it, like the wedge in the shoe or the tension in the shoulders that I know how to fix, but I don't on a regular basis. I think the way that we can be the best we can be for our horses, and we all have so much spare time, is to be doing that regular stretching every day and to be doing that regular physical fitness all the time so that we are strong and fit. But we don't have to go to that extreme. I don't do that. I wish I could, but I don't. We don't have to go to that extreme. But if we're willing to take the time and just simply be aware of what's going on in our bodies. Like right now, I'm having some issues with my left rotator cuff. And I noticed the other day when I was sitting at my desk working that and I'm not aware enough to tell you exactly, but I'm going to tell you what I've become aware of. My left shoulder, I'm holding higher. Or am I dropping my right shoulder? Taking more stress, like if you just play with that while you're listening to this, put your shoulders, even, and then drop your left shoulder. You put more, you drop your right shoulder, you put more tension on that shoulder, and it relieves some of the tension on the left side. So am I riding my horse like that? Because I didn't even know I was sitting that way until all of a sudden I was like, this feels weird, So the more that we can just like check in with our bodies when we're walking, am I taking an even stride? Do I place my feet, like heel to toe or toe to heel, however you walk? Are my hips moving the same amount of rotation? Is my shoulders. I watch a lot of my clients riding, and I have some that are like shifted to the left or the right in their saddle. And yes, they're shifting their saddle. So I'll have them get off and I'll center that saddle so I know that it's not slipping, and get them back up in the saddle and notice that at time that saddle shifts to the side. And then when I ask them, how do you feel in that specific hip? And they're like, oh, well, that hip's always tight. Well, the horse wants to be balanced. They're more attuned to their bodies than we are. All animals are more attuned. And so when they're saddled with the responsibility of carrying us on their back, bad joke, but very appropriate. They take that job seriously, right? Because they've been taught they can't dump their rider, but they don't want to fall. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And so they're going to begin to compensate in their bodies for where we are off in our bodies. So
their ability to compensate is beyond our wildest imaginations. Their ability to use, you're asking them to use one part of their body and they're doing it with a completely other part of their body because you're in their way and they can't do what they're asking you to do and you don't even know it. And they are just the amount of horses that when you collect them up, you're supposed to be using their abs and their trap to collect up. More horses than not are using their pole and their brachiocephalicus instead. They are just holding it all with their neck because that's all they can do because they haven't been properly prepared. And people are riding, FEI riders at the highest level are riding this way and have no idea they're doing it.
Ready to unlock true freedom with your horse? Join Unbridled Freedom, our private Facebook group for women on a spiritual journey in horsemanship. We don't fix our horses, we transform ourselves. This is your space to embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and deepen your bond with your horse. If you're ready to lead with wisdom, compassion, and inner peace, join us today. Let's dance with our horses as one. The link is in the show notes below. Yeah, and if you don't know how to ride on the horse ride with the horse instead of on the horse, you're asking them to engage their ab, but you are putting tension in your lower back, driving your pubic bone into their back, and they're hollowing out their back to get away from the pain of your inability, or the rider's inability, to be soft and supple on top of the horse, relaxed in their body, so that horse can relax and collect up in their body. So we're asking them to be contortionists and then, oh, by the way, look really pretty.
Yeah.
And
And it's not just people who are riding around in a show ring. This is happening on the trail too. If you're not consciously aware of setting your horse up to use their body correctly, I can almost guarantee you that they aren't using their body correctly.
yes. And how can you set your horse up to use their body correctly if you do not know, if you have not been taught how to set up and use your own body correctly?
100%.
Because our horses, in the coaching work that I do with women and my horses, and women and their horses, our horses are a mirror of us. So if we are asking our horses to do something and they are not doing what we are asking them to do, we first must look at our ask. We must look at ourselves. Are we in their way? Or are we offering it up in a way that makes it easy and natural for them to do? Because it all goes back, you guys, to they want to be comfortable.
Yes.
And they want to be balanced.
And they want to get the release that you are going to offer when they do what you ask.
Exactly.
So a very real life example of this is right now I've committed to, in my 3 rides a month, I'm just riding at a walk for the next year or so because I have so much of this to unpack and it gets so much worse with speed. I want to be clear that we're not saying that you should stop riding your horse if you're not perfectly in balance all the time. We're saying we want you to reduce your expectations of the horse and increase your awareness of yourself and work on getting better. And I am doing this in real time with you all right now. So right now I'm sitting with my right leg crossed over my left and all of my weight is in my left butt cheek. That is how my curvy self likes to be all the time. When I get in the saddle, I am heavily weighted on the left. And I have to constantly remind myself, even it out, even it out, even it out. MJ side passes to the right with a lot of ease because I'm on her left. She cannot side pass to the left, and it is not her. She knows what I'm asking. I cannot, in a balanced way, unweight my left without bracing with my left leg against her. So then I'm holding her in a straight position, essentially, by bracing with my right butt cheek and my left leg. So right now, I sit at a standstill. We find a nice shady spot that's comfortable, and I practice shifting my weight to the right and relaxing my left leg. It looks like we're sitting there doing nothing. And God bless her, she stands there so patiently. And when I get it, she breathes out and goes, "Oh, you did it." And that is just a huge limitation in my body that I think I can retrain my neurons and relax my body and work on it. And I know I can, but it's gonna take 200 repetitions of that exercise to show my body that it's possible. And it's not fair for me to get mad at MJ and say, "I want you to blow through my leg and side pass anyway," which is essentially what I would be doing if I got out a crop or a whip or started just saying, "You got to move off my leg," even though both of my legs are squeezing you. Her and I got in some discussions about that side pass until finally she could do it on the ground. What the hell is the matter with her? She knows what I'm asking. She can do it to the left. And then finally I broke it down and said, what's happening in my body, and realized oh, my left leg is blowing through concrete. This is me. It's not her. And in a way, that's incredibly freeing because it's easier to fix yourself than your horse, or just adjust those expectations. As we say, it's never just trail riding, but we're quote unquote just trail riders.
Mhm.
we're committed to recognizing this stuff because, oh, I bet my horse is unevenly muscled because I'm riding on her. I'm one-sided riding her all the time. I have no business riding a horse on it at a trot if I'm one-sided riding.
I had some thoughts there while you were talking. The one thing that I really heard in that is that our horses give us pure, honest, immediate feedback.
Mhm.
And if we can get out of the traditional mindset that my horse is being bad, ignoring me, stupid, obstinate, having a bad day, and just recognizing that everything they do is communication and feedback. And Laura's laying down muscle memory, but you have to, before you do anything repetitively, you have to be really aware of, am I doing it better? I mean, without having somebody there with their eyes on you or a mirror in front of you, you're going by feel. And so when it feels right, your horse is going to give you that feedback. And so you practice that, but you have what we're really sharing is the importance of that personal awareness and that horse awareness, and um,
So, okay, let's talk about that feeling because that something came up when you said that. Um, when you're asking for a stop and you breathe out and your horse stops and they listen to you, that feels good. But when you're asking for a stop and you breathe out and your horse stops square and straight and proper, that feels amazing. And a lot of us just say, good, moving on. But if we can increase our awareness and in our mind be feeling for that amazing, and in our awareness being saying, what was going on in my body when I got the amazing? How did I set up my horse when I got the amazing? How can I reach for the amazing instead of just accepting good enough all the time? That's your next level.
and that's hard. It really is. It takes practice.
Mhm.
It takes patience. I have, many of my clients that we work on this on a regular basis, and I watch them get themselves so spiraled up with frustration because they want to do it right, and it's hard. It's hard. It's like learning how to ride a bike, learning how to snowboard, learning how to, wakeboard. It's a feel, and you have to keep trying and trying and trying until you get until you do it, and then you know what it feels like. But the human mind just wants immediate results, and so it's really hard because we have such a high level of expectation, and when we can't reach it, then we get frustrated with ourselves and then the horse, and so it's a spiral. And just be patient.
Yeah.
This is big, to be willing to go to that depth of awareness. And it goes back to, this whole podcast was sparked by our last podcast, number 32, on trail riding. Um, just being able to ride where you're not distracted. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you got to wait till the whole arena clears out. You got to figure out when nobody else is at the barn, and if you have your horse at home, it's easier. But being willing to just go out there and ride your horse at a walk like Laura's doing, and they can do no wrong. I mean, I will often just put the reins over the horn and just ask them to travel. I don't care where they go, if they go a straight line. I don't care what they do. I want them to travel because it's not about them. It's about what am I feeling in my body? Can I feel my horse underneath me? Can I feel each individual back muscle? Can I feel the shoulders rise? Can I feel the hips rise? And and that takes time. That took me a long time to feel that. And sometimes I know when I'm not in my present moment with my horses is because I can't find it.
Yeah.
I can't feel it. So what's going on in me, right? But that's where you first start is learning to feel your horse because your horse can feel a fly on the middle of their back. Okay. So they can feel when you fart. They can feel when you get scared. They can feel when you're shifting. They feel you. Trust me. But can you feel them? And then when you can start to feel them underneath you, then can you feel your body, your individual hip, your individual shoulder, your individual vertebrae, your toes. Can you wiggle your toes? Are your toes soft enough, your legs soft enough that you can wiggle your toes? Or are you bracing in your stirrups and you can't? Or I'll never forget one day I realized riding a young colt, I couldn't wiggle my toes because they were all clenched.
No.
I'm like, forget
No.
wiggling them. I just need to relax them,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But body tension shows up in our bodies in crazy places.
It does. Yeah. I am a terrible shoulder. Like, for somehow I managed to hunch my shoulders and shove them up by my ears. So I'm like, and I see videos of myself riding, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. And so just that exercise of I'm gonna walk a straight line. You can do this while you're on the trail.
Mhm.
It's better to do it when you're off by yourself. So if you're more comfortable off by yourself in an arena or around pen, do that. It's hard to do it when your gals are chatting. But shoulders back, but relaxed, not back and rigid. What does that feel like? Just doing that body scan of where am I holding tension? It's really not as bad as I'm saying it is, but I'm riding down the trail on one butt cheek with my shoulders up around my ears and hunched forward.
Quite the visual.
Yes. Like, and it's like just these minor, make the minor adjustment. Feel how much your horse relaxes and responds. It's amazing how much the horse is like, oh, yeah.
It's like Laura's like, I'm not that bad, but I'm aware of it. So it feels really that bad. It feels that exaggerated. But the thought that came to my mind listening to her talk about that, and then she added to it that went, uh-huh. It does feel that exaggerated to your
To the
horse.
horse. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when she just makes that simple deep breath in, and as she blows out, she relaxes her upper body, and her horse feels that. So, what are we doing to our horses' bodies? And this is not a beat you up episode. This is not a shaming episode. I hope none of us are ever
We
shamed.
try not to. Sometimes we
They're
get a little
all
soapboxy, but we try not to.
you. And that's because we love our horses so much. This is a you don't know what you don't know till you know it episode. So many people out there are like, I can fix your horse. Your horse is doing this. I need somebody to fix my horse because my horse is doing this. It's struggling. It won't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Before you rush out and do that, just breathe.
Mhm.
Just sit on your horse and walk and breathe. And where you notice, like Laura said, do a body scan. And you can do this before you get on your horse. You can do this in a car. You can do this in bed. You can do it anywhere, really. Is just take a nice deep breath and put your attention inside your body, and you will immediately notice where there's tension. Breathe into it. You don't have to try to, we're fixers. So we're going to fix that tension. You don't have to.
The crazy part about all of this conversation is Honestly, the less attached we can get to it, the better.
Isn't that the truth about everything?
If I get in the headspace of, okay, I have an hour, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna just ride my horse perfectly. I'm gonna be so aware of my body. I'm not gonna be out of balance for a second. Everything is gonna be flawless. Like, can you feel the tension in that?
Yep.
Or if I just say, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna treat this ride like a giant meditation. I'm gonna notice tension as it comes and just invite it to leave. And if it doesn't leave, we're just gonna stand in the shade and take deep breaths with it and see what happens. And if we get to the point where we get to trot some really nice figure eights because we've melted tension and we're feeling balanced together, that'll be amazing. If we stand in the shade and then we just, you know what, we're just gonna go down the trail. And even if going down the trail I can't get the tension out, I'll just get off and I'll walk next to MJ. We're gonna have a lovely Saturday together with some breathing, some relaxation, some working on some stuff, and then some time in nature. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever looked at your horse and wondered if they're thriving in your care? Is there more you can do to give them the best life possible? Most ranches and boarding facilities are set up for convenience, not horse health, but there's tons you can do to fix your horse's situation if you're willing to get creative. Join Evidence-Based Horsekeeping, my Facebook group where members learn how to improve the mental and physical well-being of their horses. The link is in the show notes.
And if you can't get the tension out of your body because you're just learning about this, that's okay.
Yeah.
Go to a massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Go to acupuncture. Sit in the warm hot tub. Do some gentle stretching.
Turn the heater if you have a heated seat.
Yeah.
Turn that sucker on your way to the barn.
We're not saying you can't ride your horse until you're completely balanced. That's not what we're saying at all, because there are lots of people who ride their horses and it helps them loosen up. So that's a great thing too. But what we're saying is become aware of it and notice my horse was really good, and all of a sudden now my horse pins his ears back when I put his bridle on, or my horse has always been really good, but I notice now when I put the saddle on, the ears go back, or when I go to tighten the cinch, the ears go back, or they turn their nose. I've had horses turn and want to full on bite me, and it's like, whoa, that's dramatic, but the horses are always saying something to us. And if you notice that all of a sudden your horse is struggling with something, don't blame them. Get curious and go, wow. We have our favorite shoes or our favorite shirts or our favorite, if you're a woman, a bra, and then all of a sudden it's not fitting right. Well, why? What's happened? So be curious. And, there's books out there about teaching you how to help your horse stretch. Horses need to stretch like we need to stretch. There's great books out there teaching you how to do gentle massage on your horse.
Cindy and I are both huge Masterson fans and do that stuff with all the horses that we work with all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
I do a Masterson every time I pick up a horse's hind foot. If they have nerve firing and that foot starts jumping around, I do a Masterson hind end release.
Yes. And his book is amazing. Yeah. You don't have, it's on my list to go through his course, but until I can, I have his book. And it helps me. People don't realize that horses get TMJ issues. And then all of a sudden they don't want to have their ears touched. And people make them. And it's like, no, their TMJ is killing them. Don't put a bit in their mouth. Don't force them. Ask them to tell you what. And if you don't know how to do body work, there's lots of body workers out there. We want to leave you somewhat empowered. So, there are books out there. Masterson method is great. There's some wonderful stretches, books on stretching out there.
You're never, ever gonna hurt your horse by putting the warmth of your hands on them and letting them take that energy and put it where they need it. You're never going to hurt your horse by trying K-taping, acupressure, acupoints, and giving them a really good rub down. There's books on all of that.
If you really want to learn more about this,
The Acupoint Workbook, is
absolutely.
that what it's called? The Acupoint Workbook by Essential Elements?
I don't know. I've packed all my books, so don't ask me any book titles right now. But we can put notes, books in
Yeah.
the notes, and you can send us messages on our Facebook Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry page. One of the things that I teach all my students and I do religiously for my horses is before I put a saddle on them, I start at their poll behind their ear and I gently rub each TMJ, which is right up there right below the ear, you guys, in case you don't know. And then I rub my two fingers as hard as I can along their neck, looking for them to flinch, tense, move away. And then I go on either side of their spine behind the withers and I push with my two fingers along those muscles. And I'm looking for tension. I'm looking for skin wiggling like there's a fly on them. Their ears going back, spinning around, dipping out from underneath my hands. And I go from behind their withers all the way down towards their tail, all the way down the back of their leg to tell me if they have any tension. And if they do, depending on how bad it is, I'm most likely going to do some massaging, maybe some liniment on them, most likely if they're sore on the back, not most likely. If they are sore in their back, I will not ride them that day. I will call my body worker. I will do red light therapy on them. I will do acupressure on them. I will call my PEMF gal, my chiropractor, just depending. And then if I get the green light on testing them and I saddle them up and we go for a ride, the first thing I do when I remove that saddle is I repeat that testing. And if they have a sore back, then I'm calling my saddle fitter and I'm saying we need to work. Something's out of balance. So they will tell us. And again, it may not be the saddle's not fitting or the pad needs to be reshimmed. It may not be because they've gained weight or whatever. It may not be that at all. It could be that I'm out. If they're not sore before I got on and they're sore when I got off, it's either the saddle or it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
Okay, so this is we're talking about all this stuff for our horses, and you mentioned it, but I want to come back around to it. In today's culture, it's almost expected that your horse have a body worker or a chiropractor. I personally feel like if you're having to have your body worker or your chiropractor coming out more than once a month, there's something going on for sure that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
But once again, if you're paying all the money for your horse's body worker, but you're carrying around a ton of tension and you don't have a body worker, you're just band-aiding your horse all the time when you're the problem. And it's a beautiful gift to yourself to have the awareness of that. If you are out all the time, you deserve to go get a massage once a month. Figure out the tools that help you not cause compensation issues in your horse.
Absolutely.
That whole thing of my horse has a chiropractor and a body worker and a this or and a that or and I take Advil. That's not, I mean, it's a funny joke. It's a funny social media thing, but
it's so flipping true.
it's so true. And it's a problem because we're causing this problem and solving it at a very surface level when if we went to the source, we could really solve it and have so much more of an enjoyable experience. How many of us are ignoring discomfort in our bodies and just enjoying the ride when we don't have to have that all the time?
Well, what you're cracking me up because when you started talking to this, my first reaction was like, who can afford to add that into the budget? But then as I'm listening to you talk and I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, if you're spending all this money on the body worker and the chiropractor for your horse and your horse is not the problem, if you took half that budget and spent it on you, then you're not spending any more. You're not adding an expense to your budget. You're just redistributing the funds
Yes.
and getting more bang for your buck, because now you both are more balanced and you both feel better and you're both being pampered.
And this comes back to the awareness. Do you or your horse have something going on where you're going to constantly be creating and dissipating tension? I think most probably yes. Can you put a plan in place where you can manage that at home? Red light. Okay, tape. All the things that I mentioned are things that I do, are things that I've already invested in for my horse, but work great on me. I love to do you sit there with the red light pad and then I sit there with the red light pad session. Feels great. I just don't have the funds to have a body worker for myself or MJ once a week.
Nor should you need it. Unless you're
but
a high level performer where you
Right.
you and your horse are working out 4 to 5 times a week, neither of you need that.
But if you're investing in equipment for your horse, you better believe it's gonna work on you. And take the time and let yourself do it.
Horses, humans, and dogs, most of the equipment that works on one will work on all three.
Our point of this episode was notice how you and your horse are contributing tension to each other and put a plan in place. Really, the more you deepen your awareness of this, the more you're going to learn what can I fix and make it go away forever? What's going to be reoccurring? And how can I manage it so that we're both healthy and happy and enjoying our time?
And I want to add one last thing, Laura. If you don't know what a healthy horse body looks like, go to your nearest wild Mustang range. And if you don't have wild Mustangs in your community, get on and watch some YouTube videos of them. And those are normal, healthy horse bodies. Unless unless they have a birth defect or something, and you're going to see it. If you're watching a herd of 10 horses and they all pretty much look the same build, and then there's that one, then that one's had an injury or something like that. But if you don't know what a normal healthy horse body looks like, look at a wild one, because they've not had any human intervention. They've not had a soil or taint their structure in any way. Sway back horses are not normal because of age. A swayed back horse is absolutely 100% human induced, unless they have a birth defect or they've injured their spine.
And honestly, you're unlikely to see that in the wild because those horses don't last very long.
Right. We have just been trained to think that a swayed back horse is old and has lived a good life. And I am here to tell you that is so opposite of what is true. And that goes back to Bex, which I really want to get her on our podcast. Swayed back horses are horses who are being ridden incorrectly and are dipping their spines away from the pain of a saddle and a rider riding on top of them, and artificially collecting their neck and their head and asking them to perform at optimum peak performance in every gait when it's not natural. If you watch horses run on their own, they do not collect their heads up and keep them straight. So we do a lot to the horses' bodies, you guys.
So try for a meditative ride. Bring your awareness to your body, your horse's body, and the response between the two.
Be curious, open, and just what do you discover? And then what do you do about it? And we're here to help you with those questions. So if you have any questions about the topics covered in this episode, send us a message on our Facebook page, Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry. And we will answer your question in a post on our page. You will be anonymous. We'll just take the question and provide our input. And we want to do it on the post so that we can all learn and grow together, because nobody knows everything. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. We want to remind you that we'll be here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, following the golden rule. Have a plan, but always be willing to be flexible. Don't forget to connect with us using the links in the show notes below.
If you learned something new today, had an aha, or walked away with a valuable nugget, you can say thanks by leaving us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on.